Hello. Checking in with up to into Chapter 8 of Indian in the Cabinet by Jody Wilson Raybould, where we've got more of her as the Justice Minister and Attorney General, um, and her and her frustrations over how you know in certain issues, minimum mandatory sentences, and you know, moving forward on native agreements with native groups on self government and reconciliation. Things have suddenly started grinding to a halt. The She is frustrated that the Trudeau government is being political, that they're obsessed with polls, that they're backing off of commitments they made of their policies. And I'm struck by the where one minister says, like, with minimum mandatory sentences, which she does not agree with, that they are not something that is actually conducive with actually helping being in the justice system, or being, giving tools to, like, kind of work with in a society that they end up targeting people's underprivileged people, stuff like that. That, like, one of her fellow ministers says, like, so, would you be happy, like, if you got, like, about 70% of it through? She's like, why would I try to just get 70% of it through? I want it all through. We made a commitment. What's stopping us from doing that? And she's very kind of irked that they're letting the thought that they might lose votes influence what they would do, which you can really tell that she's not a politician, because she does not really care about being reelected, and seems to be, like, holding on to power, which is what is the calculus that is definitely guiding the PMO's office, which is very much controlling all of its ministers, picking who their heads of staff are, trying basically to dictate what goes forward, what doesn't go forward. There's stuff about basically cabinet meetings where the PMO controls what topics get to be addressed, and if it's not a topic that they think is a priority that's going to win them votes, then it doesn't get brought up, like a lot of the native things. She goes back to Trudeau saying that the most important relationship for the government of Canada is to native peoples, and that is obviously empty bullshit political rhetoric. That once the election is over, that does not actually apply. So yeah, we get that, where she's obviously, she just doesn't, and she does kind of admit, if I was more of a politician, which she's theoretically supposed to be, maybe I would have done the political calculus, tried to figure out how to frame things that we could have gotten more done by being strategic in all of this. But she's not strategic. She's very much, I do the work kind of a person, which is, like, it's really admirable, but she's also in this system, which is all about politics, all about partisan politics, all about jockeying, all about manipulation, that she's not equipped for. You can see why this maybe just was not going to happen. She would have need to had somehow have a partner who would handle that part of it for her while she was getting all the work done, because that wasn't going to happen. And the thing that, of course, then accelerates this mightily is SNC Lavalin, the company, the engineering project management company, which to all appearances seems to be super corrupt. Ask the World Bank and stuff like that has banned them multiple times for shenanigans. They have been accused and convicted of multiple bribery instances of bribery around the world, as well as in Canada, that they're getting prosecuted for doing some of that same bullshit in Libya. And the prosecutor, notifies her that this is happening. The Liberal government had put through a thing called a deferred prosecution, where you kind of agree to the terms of the thing, you follow whatever they want to do, and at the end of it, they'll withdraw the prosecution, and thus it won't activate stuff that could potentially force them not to have any contracts with the federal government for a decade. And in conversations with the PMO office, which starts vigorously telling Raybould that she needs to consider all the tools in the thing, i.e. overruling her independent prosecutor and putting in this deferred prosecution idea, that this would be really bad. They're talking about leaving Canada, that this could cost the country 9,000 jobs, all this stuff. SNC-Lavalin being a Quebec company, so that again being a big thing, and in the context of other job losses within the country at the same time. So, but she's like, no, that's political interference. We would be crossing the line into interfering with the rule of law in Canada, bringing in a political sway. We don't do that. And she says repeatedly to the PMO's office, to Gerald Butts, specifically, even having this conversation is really inappropriate. I am here to give you advice, and I'm here to protect the Prime Minister from himself, from doing just such things. You should not be asking me this. Continually doing that. When she refuses, this is when she gets shuffled into Veterans Affairs. At first, they try and push her into Indian Affairs, which she had already stated very clearly. I'm not interested in being in the institution that is directly responsible for the colonization and subjugation of my people. There's no way of reforming that from the inside. I want nothing to do with it. So, yeah. So she does end up in Veterans Affairs. Not for that long, though, and we'll find out as we go along. But yeah, I'm seeing the things of she is a really awesome person. She's also really not a politician, and the whole thing of adversarial politics, of all the kind of what I admittedly is kind of the slimy stuff of politics, she wants nothing to do with, which does make her, probably makes her a liability to the Liberals. Aside from the SNC-Lavalin thing, where it's a complete brick wall, and she's, I wonder if another justice minister and the same thing, even another politician would have done similar stuff. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. All right, I think that's all I have to say about that for now. More videos later.